My name is Rajesh Balani. I'm the head of product for data security and DLP here at Palo Alto Networks. And I'm really excited to bring to you recent updates that we have done to the DLP product. And again, like excited for you to try them on. So with that, I'll jump into the updates themselves. Um, the updates are across two categories. The first is to the standard DLP patterns and profiles. We made sort of interesting updates there and improvements. And then the second is a subtopic, but really important as well, and a focus area for us in this particular financial year for Palo Alto, which is customer IP protection. Now, Palo Alto's strategy is to deliver a comprehensive cloud-delivered enterprise DLP that has the best in industry accuracy, has coverage for all the various control points, if you will, including some at data at rest through cloud, data in motion through your Prisma Access, NGFW VM series, and last but not the least, the most recent one, which is inline protection for outbound email. So very comprehensive, but you do the DLP configuration and management of that once in one singular platform and application, and you're able to take leverage all of that in the various control points that Palo Alto offers. So really, really powerful. Email DLP, this was recently released from Palo Alto. This again identifies sensitive data with all the best-in-class detections that we have, including some of the more advanced techniques which I'll go into today. The purpose of this is to prevent exfiltration, so outbound email, but in an inline manner, meaning you're able to block or quarantine emails sent to untrusted domains. This capability is client and device agnostic, so no matter whether it's a managed device, unmanaged device, browser, endpoint application, whatever you are using to send an email, all of those channels and all of those devices and paradigms will be covered through this email DLP. And this, again, email DLP is a part of our single cloud delivered enterprise DLP platform. Just a quick overview into how this actually works, because this is important. This works on the concept of what is called as a smart host, where we attach the smart host to your enterprise email service of choice. And through that, we're able to inspect through the DLP service the contents of the email and then recommend to the email service provider what to do. And so if Palo Alto says, block this email, the email service provider will block that. So block, quarantine, and encrypt are some of the standard actions. And if an email is okay from a DLP inspection perspective, then it is let go towards the outside and reaches the destination. So pretty simple, but very, very powerful. Moving on, data pattern updates. So this is where we get into some of the how you detect. So typically DLP systems offer patterns such as, let's say, credit card number. And while that works out of the box really, really nicely, sometimes you need to tweak those patterns to match either real world use cases or use cases or data patterns that are really relevant to your environment. So the concept applies widely. Some customers are using it for validation of game codes, for example, some for validation of credit card numbers. And the way this works is through an inclusion and exclusion criteria. So you could say include matches that start with a certain set of characters or end with a certain set of characters. Similarly for exclusion as well. And then it works for all currently supported file types and languages today. I'm going to show a demo of it. And in that demo, you would see the typical use case, which is the company does transactions with vendors, And so in some cases, certain credit card numbers are okay to be sent outside the company's sort of outbound direction because that's how they do business. But certain other credit card numbers should be blocked. So this will give you the ability to do that, and I'm going to show you that in a video demo. So this is the demo. I'm going to play it, and I'm going to voice over it. So here we have a credit card number standard pattern out of the box with an occurrence set to 4. So minimum of 4 occurrences are required in a file. This particular file has those 4 numbers, and we are testing, without exclusion. So this is standard pattern out of the box. You'll see that this file is getting uploaded to a standard, application, and this upload will actually get blocked. And we'll go to the DLP incidents to see if an incident was generated for it. And in the incident details, you would see this is the standard credit card number pattern that's available out of the box. It found 4 unique occurrences. Now we're going to make changes to a custom data pattern, which is an extension of the credit card number, and we're going to add an exclusion criteria to say any credit card beginning with 4005 should be excluded. We made the change to the pattern. Now what we're going to do is make sure that we change the profile to say look for only this pattern, right? So you see on the right, credit card number with exclusion. That is the pattern that we're looking for. So now we have made the changes to the configuration. We're going to go back and do the live transaction itself. But before we do that, just want to clarify, for clarity's sake, we are doing this test with exclusion. Now, when we send this file, remember the first credit card number was 4005. When we send this file again for upload direction, this file will not get blocked. This will actually go through because we had excluded the first number, which was 4005. Now, that's the demo. So really small set of improvements, but really, really powerful. You can customize it to you for DLP to work in your environment. Moving on is the second set of capabilities now, which is related to ML powered detections. So all these, the things that you see on the screen are available in the product today. All our DLP customers are taking advantage of it by default. So the first one is ML-based patterns themselves. So typically the patterns tend to be sort of either regular expression based or you have a standard format. Like SSN will have 9 digits with some dashes in between. But what we want to do is not only we leverage the patterns, we leverage the power of modern technologies like LLMs to understand the context and semantics behind a particular detection so that we are able to reduce situations in which we do just a blind pattern matching. And so we're using ML and LLM to understand the context to improve the signal to noise ratio. Noise means false positive, signal means the true detection that you're looking for. So it has led to about double digit, and I cannot specify the exact percentages, but in some cases it's as high as 80% reduction in false positives. This, by the way, is available today for 50 data patterns out of the box, all customers. So really great accomplishment from our side. The second is ID card detections. And so this is models that detect images as a whole as opposed to just looking for a pattern. So in other words, if you're looking for a Visa credit card, or in this case, let's say a California driver's license, we don't have to match the contents. We know, because we have trained our models to look for images of a certain type, that we can guaranteed tell you that this, again, is a image of a California driver's license versus something else. So this eliminates the need for text matching altogether. But again, like delivers great amount of accuracy from our side. And then the third is sort of other set of detections, and there are couple of examples here. The first one applies to our healthcare customers looking for PHI specifically, and the second one is application credentials themselves. And again, like this applies to a lot of our high-tech focused customers as well. And again, in both these cases, double-digit percentage reduction in false positives. So really, really powerful. Moving on. The topic of customer IP protection. So our Palo Alto's DLP has a built-in set of deep learning models, which are machine learning based, that provide classification out of the box. So in this case, there are about 10 plus predefined document classifiers available out of the box. And that's what we call predefined document types. And then customers themselves can train our machine learning models, but these machine learning models are only pertinent and only relevant to that particular customer's tenant. So there is privacy and security built in. And so the customers train the ML models in their tenant, DLP tenant, and then can use those for IP protection as well. Right? And one thing that's really sort of center focus for all that we do here with ML training is the customer drives all of that. The utilities and file upload methods are provided to customers, and all of this is done in a privacy preserving manner as well, and so that Palo Alto doesn't get to see the data. We only see representations of that data that are of the type hashes or fingerprints, and we'll go into the details of those. And again, all of this is a part of our single unified DLP platform, so that you build those IP protection related ML models once and be able to leverage it wherever Palo Alto's control points are, whether at rest or in motion. The first of those examples is what we call as exact data matching. And so in this, you're typically trying to protect specific data values rather than general patterns. So examples of those values are, say, employee records, customer records, patient medical records. And so, for example, one of our customers is a big healthcare customer. They are using the exports from their HR or MS system, such as Workday, to create what we call as a structured format, which is typically a spreadsheet or a CSV. And they're using that to safeguard the records of their particular employees. So in other words, it's not enough, for example, to find a social security number. You need to make sure that social security number is important to you. Similarly, bank account numbers, credit card numbers, first names, last names, email addresses, the usual sort of things around PII are also covered in there. So actual values, by the way, in this manner are never sent or stored to PANW, Palo Alto Networks. We only see hashed values, which are privacy preserving. And so I'm going to show you a demo where I've already created an EDM identifier, and we'll go through how this is really helpful. So let me play the demo video here. In this example, we have a structured data format, an Excel or CSV file with these columns, first name, last name, social security, bank account number. And we've already created an EDM profile in the product, which is, let's call it employee deposit data. And we have said that we have mapped the fields, that these are the column headers and they map to these field types. In the detection, the way detection is set up is I need either a social security number or a bank account number, and I need either a first name or a last name in a single document for this to qualify as a DLP match. So again, we're going to look at that. I'm going to use a first name and a social security number of one row, a record, and last name and bank account number. So you see that in the test file. And then when we will upload this particular test file, which is called EDM test file, into again one of the applications, you'll see that upload itself is detected by DLP and blocked. You see that block coming through. And then when we go into the actual DLP incident, you'll see that it matched the EDM profile that was created for employee deposit data, and it'll also show you what how many occurrences. So it says 2 occurrences, and which columns were matched as well. So in this case, bank account number, social security number, last name, first name are matched, along with the standard stuff that we show, which is snippets, to give you an sort of idea of where in the entire file were matches obtained. So really, really powerful. Some other use cases are, again, like for GDPR. If you have records that you want to safeguard, you can do them in this manner. Moving on to the second IP protection use case or methodology, which is called as indexed document matching. And this is essentially a fingerprinting technology. So in this technology or this capability, a customer is usually trying to safeguard critical documents, and documents are typically unstructured data like a file, if you will. And they're trying to fingerprint it, meaning get to know all the contents of that one particular file. And the examples there are forms, financial reports, M&A information, and so on and so forth. To be able to create a fingerprint for a particular document, all it requires is one sample document. So it does not require 10. Whatever document you want to safeguard and fingerprint, you upload that. And this technique works for complete matches. So you could say, I just want complete exact matches, or you could say, I want a partial match, and you can set the thresholds for what partial means in this case. All of this require, again, like reuses our privacy preserving fingerprinting algorithms. So Palo Alto does not store any of your file documents. We only store hashed values or fingerprinted values, which are privacy preserving. So we don't get to know what the exact contents behind that are. And similar to all other techniques, this works on all currently supported file types and languages out of the box. I'm going to show you a demo of this as well. In this demo, we are going to look at form detection. So this is of the type document types. I'll show you first an I-9 form, pretty standard form here, at least in the North America. And I'm uploading or creating a fingerprint of a blank form. So this is not filled in. So you'll see me create a fingerprint. And once that fingerprint is created, what we will do next is test that the fingerprint actually works before we put it in sort of active policy configuration. So here I have the blank form. I have uploaded the blank form, and then I'm gonna click generate. This model creation is actually very, very fast. So you see in a matter of like less than a second or 2 seconds, the model was created, uploaded. Now I'm going to use a test file which is not supposed to match. So this is a completely different random form, does not match I-9. And what I'm going to do is we have a capability called test mode. And I'm going to use that random different form to see if this matches I-9 at all. It shouldn't, right? But you would see that it does not. It has some similarities, but it's not an exact match. It's about 40% of the content was a match. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change our configuration to look at I-9 forms with at least a 95% or more similarity, if you will, or overlap. So once we did that, now I'm going to go through an actual form, which is an I-9 filled form with some of the filled sample details in there. So I'm going to go back again to the setup where I have a I-9 fill form, and I'm trying to upload it. This should trigger at least a 95% match because it's the same form, and this upload should be blocked. You'll see that upload once that is blocked. Yep, so that upload got blocked in there. I'm going to go back into the DLP incidents, try to see what really happened. What did this particular document match on? And so that's the I-9 filled form. You'd see that this matched a bunch of other things, but the reason it was blocked is because it matched of the document type I-9 with a score of 100%, because this was a 100% match for the fingerprint itself that was created. So like really, really powerful. Again, this capability exists for all our customers today. All right. So that was sort of some of the capabilities in there. Now, moving on to sort of the sort of how to wrap this session particularly up. In any DLP platform that's enterprise ready, you get a bunch of different detection techniques, and these detection techniques have specific ideal use cases. The overall takeaway from this is all of these techniques are available for in the Palo Alto Networks Enterprise DLP product today. But I want to recap so that all of you know the typical use cases for typical techniques. Patterns. This is standard patterns. You're looking for SSNs. Again, like with 9 digits, for example. We have 1,000 of those detectors available out of the box. Then comes data adjacency. I showed you a demo of it today as well, but essentially keywords and things like that, where not all 9-digit numbers are social security numbers. So we do this via what we call as proximity keywords. So you want to see at least the mention of, let's say, some keywords like social security number or SSN number to validate that, yes, this is truly a SSN. And this is again like available out of the box. Then comes data validation techniques. We saw an example of that with inclusion exclusion. Some of the data validation techniques are again built into the product today. So for example, credit card numbers. Not all 16-digit, 50-digit numbers are credit card numbers. They follow a standard pattern and an algorithm called as a LUN check. So we want to make sure we validate those as well. So those, again, some of them are available out of the box, and some you can customize, and I showed you an example of how to validate. Then we went into machine learning models. And so this is where you train a model to make sure that there is high efficacy and there is meaningful sort of, context-driven probability with a specific type of detection. So those, again, we saw examples of that, more than 50 plus patterns available, bunch of other detections like PHI, application credentials, image-based detectors, all available out of the box today. Then we went into techniques that are more relevant for customer-specific sort of data, and this is where IP protection comes in. So we looked at EDM, or exact data matches, which is supposed to look for specific data values, right? So you want to look for exact credit card number, not just any credit card number. And so we saw an example of that as well, again available today. And then last but not the least are document classifiers. So these are where we can do like fingerprinting techniques and look for either exact matches or in some cases partial matches, but they're very close to the exact match itself. And so, some examples like renewal documents, forms, financial projection documents, and so on and so forth. So like a good recap of all the things that are available out of the box today.